Good morning. It is a Thursday morning and I'm behind for you guys, but we're getting our lives together. I still have a citizen in the house that should not be, so I'm just waiting on that mom, can you take me to school conversation. I hope you all are well. As I get my notes together for today, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and your laced-up legislator for the House of Delegates, 89th District. Sometimes it's still so shocking to say that. Still so excited and grateful to be doing this work, because it is a blessing, right? We in here. We don't know that we were supposed to be here. I'm just kidding. No, we know we were supposed to be here. We're here. There have been a lot of sort of things. Good morning. What a blessing. Good morning. Because I'm behind, I'm going to just go ahead and kind of jump into some of the things that have been at the forefront. I haven't gotten the opportunity to go through the local budget, which just got approved. So those of you guys into the local politics, good morning. Know that your budget, our budget here for the city of Norfolk just got approved or was just, voted on last week. So that's something for us to start looking at. I'm looking at it from the lens of what's missing walking up. Is there anything that I need to be advocating for or saying to you guys, hey, this is what the city doesn't have in their budget, and here's where at the state level they could fill in some gaps, because oftentimes there's some things where the state can be helpful. One of the biggest things is, we've got millions of dollars to help build the seawall, but our city has to match. And by match, it's like, saying you gotta come with a percentage, or you gotta put in what we put in. And when you're in a pot where we are doing the majority of the payment for our schools and trying to put money in places where folks are kicking down the door saying we need to do, you got to walk up to the state and say, hey, we need those funds. So I haven't got the opportunity to look at the budget thoroughly, but I will. I am, again, hopeful that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be back in Richmond. Getting a budget at the state level. So everything will pan out the way it needs to pan out. So, but I do want to know, this has been, I feel like this week has been, I don't know the word to put on it, but it's kind of been something. So tell me, what is going on in your world? What are your major concerns this week? What's been sitting heavy? There hasn't been a lot of policy changes or much things that have sort of changed policy-wise, but let me refresh this. Maybe it didn't. Okay. So, what is heavy on my mind, and I'm got someone on the team but looking into this, is there's been a lot of talks about, specifically the discrimination and limiting liberties of women. And, a huge piece of that has to deal, or not a huge, there is a piece of that deals with motherhood. And I know that there is a shortage of baby formula across the country. And as I started reading the stories about this, it kind of hit me hard, because while I was on active duty, with my first child, I was breastfeeding for quite a bit of time. And when he turned about 3 months, I had to move. We call it PCS, a change of duty station, right? I had to change my duty station, go across country from California to Florida. And during that time, I had to figure out, what am I going to do with my child? Do I have enough breast milk to send him where he needed to go? And I didn't. I had enough. I sent him to Chicago to be with my mother. And about 3 months later, I was able to get my baby back. And when I got him back, my milk production was not there. And so it was that point in time where I had to transition to formula. Some people make that choice off top. We have the right to do whatever that is that feels like is best for our family situation and our babies. But when formula is not available, I imagine in some sense that is a matter of almost life and death in some ways for parents out there. I also know single dads of infants, right? There are some single dads out there that are just, that took on the responsibility of being a single parent with a young child. It's troubling to me. We are reaching out to some of the resources locally, like, I'm so open to suggestions on this. I have some of the folks on the team reaching out to the food banks, to some of the hospitals and asking where they stand with formula as we sort of look at our backyard and see if there's anyone in need, as the shelves stay empty, or get emptier, with formula. So I'm definitely open to your questions, comments, concerns, and everything, especially with that piece of things. Michelle said the last one has been challenging, trying to locate formula for mothers in need. We've gone as far as North Carolina. Oh, Michelle. Yeah, I'm really concerned about it, and not having gotten to the emotion of helplessness, because I know that many hands are gonna make it work. But so I imagine, and just to give a backstory on Miss Michelle does food distribution across this space and place, right? Like, has been and continues to do it, and has been doing it like a juggernaut. And I know she sees it as interacting with families that are, we like to put a label on who we think are coming to these, or not, we don't. If you ever have the opportunity to be a part of a distribution just to give, all kinds of people are in need in this time. And, recognizing that, like, as I watched the news anchor talk about this, who has a brand new baby, he said, I'm going through it too. My family is going through it too. We have a child under 2, and then we have a 6-month-old, and formula is hard. And imagine being in a place where you're pulling together to feed yourself, and then there's a specific food that your newest little citizen needs, and you cannot provide it to them. You can't just cut up just put mashed potatoes down the throat of an infant. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So, Michelle, as we sort of look for resources, I definitely want to make sure that if I find anything out, I definitely make sure that we share with you. But it's heavy. It's heavy. Do y'all hear that? She said she had to go as far as North Carolina, to get formula for moms in need. Between that and, hold on a second, I'm going to pause for a second. I know I am. Sorry, I knew I was going to pause for a second, so I apologize for that. I wanted to make sure I had everything that I needed. But we do have to have that overlapping sort of support as it pertains to this formula crisis, and look at our community as a whole as how we can serve. The second thing that's been heavy on my mind as we look towards going back up to Richmond is gas prices, right? There's House Bill 6001. 6001 has to do with the gas tax rebate. And given that, prices for crude oil and prices for crude and oil have sort of dipped, the prices at the pump haven't. And I was reading, I think it was Business Insider this morning, just so you know where I'm getting my stuff from. It said, given that 59% of gas prices come from crude, a 22% decline in oil should have translated to a 13% dip at the pump, but that didn't happen. And so I'm wondering, as we look at this gas tax, right, part of it was 2 differing plans. One was like put a rebate in Virginia's hands. The other was like this gas tax. And I know they said that right now, that the oil companies don't have anything to do with this lack of decrease in gas prices, because I saw the other day, I think the national average is what did they say? It was over our average, like 450 or 470. But we're somewhere between 420 and 425 here in the Hampton Roads area. the thought process for a business insider is that gas stations could be trying to sort of recapture the margins that they lost when there was an upswing when gas was initially slow to increase at the pumps. So there was a period of time where all this stuff was going on, the war and things like that, and gas prices were kind of staying steady. They weren't changing too much, and that they feel like they may be trying to recruit there. There's also sort of a hesitation to lower the retail gas price because there are concerns that it could rebound and go higher, right? Like, even though we're seeing some lower prices in crude, that could change in an instant and go higher. And to be quite honest, like, we out here trying to search for the cheapest gas as they rise and fall. And the truth of the matter is as it gets warmer outside and folks start deciding whether or not they're going to go places, the weather is going to increase our gas usage, which is going to increase retail prices for gas. So I do not know that the gas tax holiday, if it is passed, will translate to us seeing a change at the pump. I don't see it. Part of we have a really amazing woman, like I said, in the General Assembly. Her name is Vivian Watts, that does a really great job of breaking down these taxes and how they work and how they can be translated and what that looks like. We also have this organization called the Commonwealth Institute, and I urge anyone that's into like seeing money and following it and trying to understand budget and understand what's happening with the money and the Commonwealth, that is a great resource. It's called the Commonwealth Institute, and they do a good job at translating that. So know that those two things are at the forefront of my mind as far as quality of life for people in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Like, formula and gas are sitting heavy in a way that we have to have some meaningful solutions that make sense. Shar, you said our shortage in formula seems like a ridiculous problem to have while sending almost billions of dollars of foreign aid abroad. First things first, I overstand. It hurts my heart oftentimes that I understand the value in putting our country at the forefront of taking care of some of the issues, or not even issues, the systematic, the intentional issues that have been created over time, especially policy-wise. And we have intentionally created these systems of inequity, and also exacerbated through like our continued love of discrimination. Discrimination is not, oftentimes not, when it becomes not profitable, then it becomes a problem. And so recognizing the folks that are most impacted by something like this tend to be women, right? Tend to, or gravely impacted, because I'm not going to say the most, because I think not everyone, many people, the vast majority of American people are feeling the effects of gas. And if they have small children or have babies, they're feeling this shortage of baby formula. It's just wild, which kind of leads me to something I wanted to touch on this morning about that whole discrimination against and limiting the civil liberties of women. I know that folks have been, on the ball, like, let's talk about Roe, let's talk about Roe, let's talk about Roe. For me, as an elected, but also as a woman directly, whose life is directly influenced by a lot of these decisions and the gateway effects of these decisions, I see it as just that. I see what's happening as just that: discrimination against and the limiting of liberties of women. And so in my mind, I started sort of running down these things that I see, right? Not just these things that we can all sort of pull together and say, at least I'd hope so, and say, like, something is going to have to give, especially as we walk down this path to continuously discriminate and limit the liberties of women. Number one, as a woman, we are still in this country. We're still in this country, paying discriminatory prices for products based on our gender, right? Like, that's a real thing. The tampon tax is real, right? There's only There's only one brand of chromosomes that have to use the tampon, right? And it is taxed as a luxury item and not, and forgive me as I like this morning, I was, or last night sort of feverishly writing and trying to purge my mind. So that tax on menstrual products has menstrual products as non-essential items, and it places this additional burden on those of us who menstruate. And in the Commonwealth in 2019 in Virginia, we actually looked at this as an issue, right? We said, all right, the Senate unanimously, it was Senate Bill 231 in 2019. They wanted to eliminate that tax, right? Again, being taxed, being economically discriminated against because we are women, right? And then limiting our economic growth because we got that extra to pay for. But it hasn't moved. That whole push to eliminate the tax has not moved. And as we stand here talking about eliminating the grocery tax and eliminating the gas tax, I think that a part of the conversation needs to happen, that truly needs to happen, is we need to talk about eliminating the discriminatory pricing practices on menstrual products for women. Yep. Oh, Calvin said definitely. Yep. Shouting out Michelle Harrison. Yep. She is working. And so we get taxed for goods and services, right? Disproportionately taxed for goods and services. Much of our wages have been sort of affected. Our ability to make wages have been affected. What did they say? 4 in 10 women say they experience, discrimination at work, right? So we're working in places where we're not necessarily accepted. We talked about how motherhood also, women are twice as likely than their counterparts to be to have a negative impact for taking time off for having kids. Like, this is real. Like, the culture around us as women is reflecting in policy making, which is not okay. And about half of Americans already say that, hey, there's no problem. That most Americans don't have an issue with women leading, but just don't want to see it. When we look at what's happening right now at the federal level, by numbers, again, this is me. This is, I think it's another Business Insider article. I can't remember what it was. I need to cite my sources. 80% of lawmakers who sponsored those trigger laws, off top, those laws that once if Roe is overturned, 80% of lawmakers that sponsored trigger laws were men. 91% of the senators who voted to confirm the Supreme Court justices that are anti-Roe were dudes. And so we are in a place where, quite frankly, the gripes, and not the gripes, the effects that we're feeling of the policies of the legislation across our nation that are directly discriminating against and limiting the liberties of women are led by, pushed and marketed by very powerful men, and something's got to give. That's just a soapbox thing, but I think we all kind of know that, right? Like, we all, in our own ways, we know that. But again, when we get down to the brass tacks of how that affects the way that we value professions, we're still trying to get teachers pay raises, right? We're like that's a real thing. I say that because as I looked at the teachers of the year, the elementary school teachers of the year for Norfolk Public Schools, and shout out to all of those teachers. There were so many. I only saw like 2 dudes. So the lack of respect for professions that are predominantly dominated by women, it's real. And I think now the police force is now feeling that too, feeling that as well. And I think we need to couple those two together so that we can hopefully get the support that we need for our teachers. Because we hear the same arguments and the same sort of we hear the same, sentiments of like, hey, overpaid, overworked, underpaid, asking me to do more with less. That's real. We have to couple them together. And I think that when we match up those arguments, we have to look at how culturally we are continuously allowing very powerful men to discriminate against and limit the civil liberties of women, period. And that's got to give. And yes, Charlene, we do have to elect more women to office, but we also have to make it culturally acceptable for women to lead at the executive level. Because there's in the things I was reading around just because I was like, is it just electing women that's going to change this? It's going to help. It will definitely help in making sure that as we legislate for our livelihoods, that there are more people with the empathy for the woman experience, right? The experience of being a woman, absolutely. But we still have to culturally get in a place, and I know culture takes a time where we are not viewing professions, duties and responsibilities, cultural duties and responsibilities of women as less than, where we value them. And so that you can go to a place like, I think it's Finland or somewhere, where it's like, yo, mom has to take 2 years off, period, paid, 2 years off paid, because we are building better citizens for this country. And we want to make sure that the people that love, care, and respect them, that literally brought them into our country, are able to raise them up. And so that also trickles into, as we have conversations about crime and education, I notice we get leaders in the room that say, what's wrong with the parents? Where are the parents at? They at work. And that's not always, necessarily the case, but really understanding that we have not culturally set up for a society we have not set our society up for a place where we value early learning, right? In a way that we invest in it, where we value early development in a place where we allow our parents to show up. There is also this expectation that we just put them into the school, right? Like the school got it. And that can't be the case. That can't always be the case. So for real, like, that is sitting heavily in my soul. And I am hopeful that, soon we're able to get some resolution. I'm gonna get off that soapbox. Calvin, thank you so much. I do this better when it's participatory. So we do this better when it's participatory, that it takes many hands. All right. I am at my time. I know I started a little bit late, but I'm at my time here. But last but not least, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that, nope. This next Saturday, Saturday, May 21st, I need y'all face in the place for the Norfolk Can Fly event. It is one of the first sort of industry-driven events that our office is doing. It is for adults. It is for children. We will have, we just got a Black female pilot to show up. I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited. But we're going to show that the aviation community can be diverse and representative and have equity for all of us. I am so excited. So it's Saturday, May 21st from 10 to 2 at the General Passenger Terminal at Norfolk International Airport. Not like you're going to the airport. It's on that backside of where, off Miller Store Road, where back of goodness, the outlet mall. So we've got drone opportunities for folks to fly drones. We've got paper airplane contest. We've got girls, I think it's Girls Like Us or Girls Who Flying, that are going to have all kinds of pink polish and things like that. We have panels. So if you're thinking about the first flight school in this area, so right now people got to go all the way out to deep in Chesapeake or Newport News to start the process to get their pilot's license. The first and only flight school is opening up on that day at Norfolk International Airport. Where he has some amazing opportunities to get little citizens Sorry, I'm looking at, let me go to my press release. He has amazing opportunity to be able to get little citizens the ability to be able to fly, because it costs, it's about 15 grand to get your pilot's license. But we're all working together to see equity in that, because we're losing a lot of pilots, right? I think that they said many pilots retired at the beginning of COVID, and we're going to start seeing the effects of that shortage when we start paying for our tickets. And so it's on us to build up this industry. We'll have women mechanics. What else do I got? Look, I'm making sure I tell y'all all the good stuff, all because I need y'all to share. It's on Eventbrite. If you go to Eventbrite and search Norfolk Can Fly, you're going to find it. We'll be building, we will have crafts. We'll have kids using rivet guns. Then a friend of mine, that pilot school is called Commonwealth Aviation, but a friend of mine, Mr. Andrew Crittenden, who I met working in Richmond, he's going to fly down his homemade aircraft. Yes, you hear me? I said that? Homemade. He be flying it. I said, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can make an aircraft at home and decide that I'm going to fly it. For real. So I'm excited to see his homemade aircraft. May 21st. This is one of our first major events. I need y'all to share. I really want it to be a success. Our goal is to get 75 people to come out there. Hoping that we get more. What else I got? But it's really a great opportunity. If you're looking for a way to get back into school, we'll have that there. If you just want to meet, the mayor's going to come and do the ribbon cutting for Commonwealth Aviation. We've got this really amazing pilot that does a lot of work in racial and racial equity in aviation. He's a pilot. We got the Women's Fly Club there. We're going to talk aircraft. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk all of that. So please come. All right. Until next time, I'm so grateful. Hello. I see you all the way out in Louisville. Grateful for you. Grateful for people like you. Michelle, let's make sure we connect. We are looking for formula, y'all. And we're asking for questions on these gas prices. I'm really going to start trying to figure out what we're doing in Richmond, making some phone calls and find out if we've made any headway as to what's going to happen with helping y'all at this pump, because I do not have the answers right now, but I would really love to have something and know that we're working on this formula thing. Okay. Until next time, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy Vet, Certified Doer, and your laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 89th District. So blessed and honored to serve. And I will see you all probably in these streets this weekend. I'm stacked and packed. But if not, I'll see you on Tuesday. And then I'm going to see you at Norfolk Can Fly too. Take care. Bring the citizens. Take care.